Hello and welcome to GridVision Weekly, our weekly NIS recap. I'm your host, Austin Edstrom. This past Friday, we went to the virtual Michigan International Speedway and had a hell of a race. Let's jump right into the highlights. And it begins on lap number 15, where we have a massive 12-car pileup that takes out multiple contenders. We're on board with the 12 car of Johnny Baldridge, and as we see right in front of him, Brad Newman gets just a little loose, comes up and collects Paul Bergoli, who comes down, collects Johnny Baldridge in the right rear, and he goes down to hit the inside sandbags covering the pit road wall. We're going to jump all the way to lap number 95 for our next highlight, where we have teammate on teammate action, and not the kind of action you were hoping for. Joseph Squared clears himself off of his teammate's nose. That's Daniel Nanny on the outside. That name's important later. And a huge wreck happens behind them, and this sets up a massive green-white checkered run to the finish. We're going to jump to when the leaders were taking the white flag, and I said Daniel Nanny was still important, even though he was in that last accident. He somehow finds himself in P2. iRacing just gave him his position back under caution. He didn't pass anybody. He didn't do anything to get that spot back, but he found himself with a chance to still win this race after that massive accident. Unfortunate for him, though, Justin Levine in that GridVision car right there, P3, nice little GridVision paint scheme. I'll give you a disclaimer, he signs my paychecks. But going down into turn 3, he dives it in heavy into turn 3 under Daniel Nanny. Daniel Nanny comes down to block for his teammate, trying to hold on to that P2 position as well, but Justin Levine clears him out. He said, my nose was there, buddy, you're not coming down. And Chris Wilhite comes off the corner with absolutely no challengers in his mirror, and he wins the Friday night NIS Open at Michigan International Speedway. We're going to jump into our full race rundown from the virtual Michigan International Speedway. This was race number 23 of a 36 race NIS season, and it had a whopping 5,065 strength of field. The race was pushed to 105 laps due to a late race green-white checkered, and our podium finishers were Chris Wilhite in first place, Maggie McGuire in second, and Tyler Marble in third. The rest of the top 12, fourth place Sean Conklin, fifth Anthony Federico, sixth place Latoro the Butcher Lamperti, seventh place Ty Ippolito, eighth Richard Garcia, ninth place was Spencer Burns, 10th Jacob Klein, 11th JR Borborema, and 12th place Justin Levine. If you would like to see your custom number and paint scheme featured in the next GridVision Weekly Rundown, consider subscribing to our Patreon in the description. Let's go ahead and jump into our live point standings after race number 23 of the NIS Open season. Leading the standings is Nicholas Vroman with a decent 59-point gap to Garrett Maines. Our race winner, Chris Wilhite, moves up to the third position as his Ryko teammate, Joseph Squared, took himself out of contention late in Michigan. Can Joseph recover from the deficit and mount a challenge for the championship? Tune in next week to find out as we head to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thank you for watching our inaugural episode of GridVision Weekly. We're hoping to expand the show in the coming weeks to cover all of our leagues. If you're looking to get covered in GridVision Weekly, please get in contact with us via our social media channels. We do not have to broadcast your league for it to be featured on our weekly highlight show. We'd like to give a special thanks to Randall Falks for his exceptional photography work. This has been your host, Austin Edstrom, alongside my producer, Austin Darbyshire. Thanks for watching, and we hope to have you back next time. Hello and welcome to GridVision's broadcast of tonight's Friday night NIS Open. Tonight we are at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we've got a great field here tonight, about a 2500 SOF on the road iRating, so it's actually a little bit better than that if you really think about it. But tonight we've got a great 14 turn road course here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm your host, Austin Edstrom. Unfortunately, our normal commentator, Brian Britt, is not here tonight. Unfortunately, he thought that his computer would run better without a hard drive. So we've got my new co-commentator, Nick Stein, and also behind the production booth, Austin Darbyshire, as always. Nick Stein, what do you think is going to happen in this race today? Who do you got? Who's your favorite?
I mean, it's a typical road course, so we're going to see a ton of people we normally don't see up at the front. My favorite tonight is going to be Andrew Dyson. I've seen him race a ton of road courses in some other leagues I commentate on, and he is a very fast driver, so I'm definitely expecting him to be up front tonight.
As you can see, our track length is 2.39 miles. As I mentioned earlier, 14 turns. A kind of steamy day of 84 degrees. Probably going to end up being about 100-degree track temp with that. Clear skies going to keep it nice and hot throughout the entire event. I don't think there's any percentage of rain, even though it says 37%, but hey, maybe they'll code that in pretty soon. But yeah, we've got a nice event here today. I'm looking forward to it, and you know, we're coming off of a really exciting race at Michigan. Had a great finish. We had Chris Wilhite holding off his teammate Daniel Nanny and Justin Levine in the last corner as both of them crashed, and he came to the line and picked up the W. So I'm really excited this week to see if we've got any more action. We won't have any cautions to bunch up the field, but I think we're going to be pretty tight up front anyway. And we're going to jump right into the schedule of this upcoming week here on GridVision. On Monday nights, we do have an opening, as well as Thursday nights, so if any leagues are interested in broadcasting on either of those nights, and Saturday as well, be sure to give us a call. And on Tuesday, we've got the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series at Talladega Superspeedway. Wednesday, we've got the Thunderclap iRacing Series at Atlanta. 2 superspeedways back-to-back. That's going to be really interesting on back-to-back nights. Friday night next week, we've got the NIS Open at Watkins Glen. Really looking forward to that one. Now, it doesn't show it here, but this Sunday also, we have the Global Racing Truck League at IRP. It says, obviously, next week, Watkins Glen, but for this Sunday at 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern, we're going to have them at IRP, a great track for the trucks. But it is all about tonight with the Friday night NIS Open. This is probably going to be the highest SOF of the week. It typically is. I think we're going to have an absolutely great show as we have qualifying kicking off right now. You mentioned Andrew Dyson. I personally have never ran with him, but he is the number 1 car tonight, so I could definitely see him having a really good showing. We've got a couple new guys mixed in with a couple NIS staples. You know, we've still got JR Borborema. He had a pretty good showing last week. I believe he finished 11th place, if I do remember correctly. And Jonathan Oslam, we've seen him multiple times in the NIS series. So a couple normal heavy hitters mixed in with some newcomers.
Yeah, first lap there from Andrew Dyson on 28.82. That's on the higher end of the lap times we're going to see, especially with this track temp. So he's probably going to be shooting for he's going to lock up into turn 1 there. So that's going to be into his qualifying run. But I'm assuming we're going to see pole times probably in the high 27s here tonight.
Yeah, and if they can hit into the high 27s, that's actually saying a lot with this track temp. This is way hotter than the A Opens I've been seeing this week. The track temp's actually 121 degrees right now, so it's steaming hot out there. There's going to be a nice hot and slick kind of condition for our competitors here today. I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a great race. We do have a little bit longer qualifying than normal with it being on a road course. We've got 8 minutes instead of 5, so we're just going to go on board with a couple people as they're hitting in their laps, just kind of seeing how heavy they can really take it to the big braking zones entering turn number 1 and turn number 7 after the backstretch. We see Toga Hisada going through this backstretch chicane right there, or after the backstretch, and he's going to try to bring it onto the oval nice and clean. Looks like he's got a pretty clean lap going so far.
Yeah, headed up into turn 11, this is going to be the trickiest braking point. It's going to be heading back up onto the banking between turns 1 and 2 on the oval, and it's, for whatever reason, I cannot hit this corner right to save my life. It's just one of the trickiest braking zones on the track, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in about the same boat. I feel like I just lock up that right front tire just about every time I go in there. If you just carry a little bit too much speed, it can really be a really dangerous corner. I think turn 1's a little easier. It's a heavier braking zone, but I feel like it's easier to keep all 4 wheels on the track, as well as turn number 7. Those are the 3 hardest braking zones of the lap, as we see Toga Hisada go up to P2. Pretty good lap there from him. Looks like that's going to end his qualifying, though, and I do think a couple people still have their second laps to go, so we might still see somebody jump up towards the top of this board.
I believe we're on board with Jason Willott now. I think that's how you say that. If I didn't, I apologize, but I think that's Rodrigo Navaez up on pole with a 28.1. So a little bit further off than what I was expecting with this track temp. But I mean, you were right. This is one of the hotter track temps we've seen this week. So definitely a little bit slower than what I was expecting. But we'll definitely see those race laps come down as we go through the race.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to not see some of the normal heavy hitters in here. Normally we have like Garrett Maines. Who else? We've got Nicholas Roman typically in here. Maybe they see the SOF is going to be lower because it's a road course, so they think maybe there's less points to gain. So you could maybe take an off week because there are a few drop weeks built into the NIS season. So I do believe maybe some of them are missing out on this track because they knew the SOF was just going to be a little bit lower and the points weren't going to be quite as valuable for this racetrack. But that does kind of leave the door open for a lot of the guys from 5th to 10th to 15th on the point standings to kind of reel them in a sense, because I know they have a really, really good gap at the front. I believe the top 4 have really separated themselves, and none of them are in the race tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good track to make some points up at. It's just that there's not much that goes on this track. I personally do not like this track, at least when it comes to racing on it. But this is one of those moments where I'm glad I'm up in the booth and not on the track tonight.
I'm actually kind of the opposite. I have had a lot of fun racing this track. I've only done one race this week. I just haven't had the time, but I just feel like it takes a little bit of everything out of a driver. It's super technical. There are some really fast sections as well. It almost feels like a hybrid between Watkins Glen and Sonoma to me. It doesn't have the elevation change of either of those tracks, but it's got the high-speed sections like Watkins Glen with the fast chicanes, and it's got a lot of slow technical areas like Sonoma does. So it kind of merges the two traditional NASCAR road courses in my mind. It just doesn't have that elevation change that we were talking about earlier. And it has a big banking changes coming from off of the oval in 2 separate places, coming out of turn 11 and coming out of turn 14. So it's just a really big challenge for all the drivers, and I definitely think the cream's going to rise to the top because it is not an easy course.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me, you said it's kind of a hybrid of the two, OG NASCAR road courses, if that's a good way to put it. I kind of look at it as like a hybrid street course, permanent racing circuit type thing. It's a weird way to look at it, but that's what I see in this place, because I mean, you got the tight sections where the walls are very close on either side, and then you got the really open areas. So it's one of those interesting tracks. I mean, it's put on some good races, I think, but I just personally do not like racing this track. So we'll see if these guys can put on a show tonight.
I think it's really interesting. We both kind of have different opinions on what the hybrid feel is, but that's just the nature of the racetrack. It being so difficult and so different from any other road course that we go to, you kind of pick and choose what it reminds you of. Like what you mentioned, it being a hybrid street course with the walls on a lot of sides. It also feels that way whenever you go into the grassy areas, right? Like going down into turn 1 right here, we see Abner Acosta lock up before qualifying ends. Very easy to go into that grass, very easy to go into the grass off of turn number 7. So I just think, it's not as dangerous as having walls on both sides, but if you get into the grass, even with 2 wheels, you're losing tons of time, and it's just going to suck you right off.
Yeah, especially going down, and I believe it's turn 7, that sharp left-hander before the little infield chicanes there. On the first lap especially, if you lock up going into that, there's no way you're making that corner. So that's gonna be something we're gonna have to look out for, especially on the first lap here.
And we're gonna jump right into the starting lineup for tonight. On pole, Rodrigo Nevaez with a 128.196, really good lap for this track temp. He's got 2/10 over second place Adam Williams. Second row, Toga Hisada in third. Fourth place, Andrew Dyson. Fifth place is going to be Abner Acosta, followed by 6th, Neil Pearson. 7th is Ronnie Kuritz. 8th, Richard Garcia. 9th, Laturo the Butcher Lamperti is back. Thank God, I love saying that name. And 10th place is going to be Sean Conklin.
Starting in 11th place is going to be John Payson with Brian Young starting in 12th position. 13th place is going to belong to Jason Hurdle. I believe I said that right. With Joshua Watson sitting in 14th. Jonathan Olsham is going to start 15th, and Justin Lauer is going to start 16th. Eric Sherman's going to be sitting in 17th with John. I'm not even going to attempt to say that last name, starting in 18th. Mark Padgett is going to start in 19th with Tanner Marty in 20th.
21st is going to be Alan Wilson III, followed by William Driley in 22nd. You got me laughing a little bit on Whitendorf. Anyway, 23rd is going to be Jacob Klein, followed by 24th, J.R. Borborema. 25th is going to be Jason Wallot, followed by 26, Mario Alfredo. Row 14 is going to start out with Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. and Jose Acosta on the outside of that row. 29th, Drew Eisenman, and 30th, Jerry LePage. And rounding up the back of the field in 31st, not setting a qualifying lap, is Billy Shea.
And they are rolling now, so.
Yep, we got the pace car rolling. I kind of miss not having the normal NASCAR pace car. I like seeing, what I'm used to, but I see that Porsche leading the field. Looks a little out of place, but we're going to have a pretty long pace lap here to set it up. I don't really know why we don't have it set for the backstretch like a lot of the other road courses, but we've got a long pace lap here in front of us. We can see people already warming up tires and whatnot. That's very important. Even with this hot track temp that we have today, I really think that keeping the tires nice and warm beforehand is going to be very important. I do think it's maybe a little early. I don't want to be scrubbing off that speed this early in the pace lap. It is probably about a 3-minute pace lap, so I wouldn't want to be scrubbing the tires too hard. But getting those brakes nice and warmed up for that turn 1 entry is super, super important. The 1A Open that I ran this week, somebody passed me right off the bat for about 5th place and immediately went straight on to turn 1 because they locked up everything. So it's really important getting those brakes heated really good before this first turn, especially because we have a 30-car field. If you're 15th and miss your braking point, you're going bowling.
I thought goal bowling was next week at the Glen, but the amount of times I've seen people just absolutely no breaking it into turn 1 this week is absolutely insane. So, I mean, yeah, you got to watch out for those cold brakes and those cold tires on this first lap. I mean, I've caught myself out a few times this week just forgetting that I'm on lap 1 tires and lap 1 brakes and just sending it into the corner and absolutely missing any sort of an apex.
Yeah, definitely look out for the tire smoke entering turn 1 and turn 7 on this first lap. And as we were talking about earlier, I believe it's turn 12 going into the second infield section, right before the exit back onto the main straightaway. Those are really the toughest braking zones of the whole place. But also the backstretch chicane, or entering the backstretch, that chicane there, turns 5 and 6. That's going to be a really important spot for these drivers to get single filed out before they even get there. You know, you can fight too wide through the first couple corners, but as soon as you get to that backstretch chicane, it is so tight. And on the cold tires, if you hit that curbing just wrong, it's going to spin you sideways and you're going to have just about nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's going to be another thing we're going to have to keep a lookout for, is because you need to hit that chicane as straight as possible, or else you're going to go sliding all over the place. I mean, I can't count the amount of times I've made passes for position this week just off of people getting it all wrong through that chicane and just looping it and or sliding their tires to you know what and back.
Yeah, I definitely expect to see a lot of single car kind of incidents, maybe just little 2-car things going into braking zones. So we're going to have a lot of replays that we might not catch right off the bat because the field will get spread out pretty good towards I don't know, lap 5, lap 10, and by that point it's just kind of picking the little mini battles throughout the field as both of the leaders are coming through turns number 13, about to enter turn 14, getting back onto the front stretch. I'm personally looking forward to this race. I love road course racing. I love road course racing in the NASCAR style of vehicles. And as they come off of turn number 14, the start of this race is handled by pole sitter Rodrigo Neves. And he is going. We are green from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The field already starts spreading out just a little bit going down the front stretch. Everybody's being pretty kind to each other. It's not too packed up. And Rodrigo has a huge lead going into turn number 1.
That's the exact thing you want, especially at a road course like this. That's what you don't want. Behind them is Andrew Dyson, and I believe that is the 2-car. No, that's the 3-car of Togo Hisada. We're getting real friendly going down into turn 1, but from the looks of it, everyone makes it clean through turn 1, heading down into turn 4, 5, and 6 complex.
Yeah, everybody throughout the field did an absolutely great job getting through that beginning sector here. They are side by side for about 5th place coming out of turn 4, but they get single filed out right before the backstretch chicane. And it's all about carrying as much momentum as you can out of that chicane so that you don't get past, going down the backstretch. We got 3 wide battle there. I can't quite tell who that is. There's a couple new paint schemes that I'm not too used to here, but that's Richard Garcia, I believe, in the middle. There's still 3 wide going into turn number 7.
Oh my goodness, how do they make 3 wide work through there? That's not a corner you can barely go 2 wide in, and they somehow managed to make 3 wide work. Absolute good move there from everyone involved. I believe that's the 9-car. That's Acosta we're on board with. I couldn't quite catch who was in front of him.
Yeah, unfortunately for Abner Acosta, he definitely just kind of, he got a little slow coming off of, I believe it was the backstretch chicane, just because he had to kind of let it go for somebody on his inside, and he's continuing to lose position. He's just kind of falling through the field really early. I'm kind of surprised. I thought he was a little bit faster than that, but he might be having a harder time getting his tires up to temperature than everybody else, but they're just kind of stacked up behind him. He kind of seems to be a bit of a roadblock right now.
Yeah, I think he had a slowdown going through turn 10 there, which is probably one of the hardest corners, or one of the harder corners on the track, just to get the absolute limit out of the car. I can't count the times I've gotten slowdowns through there trying to use as much track as possible, and that's another thing tonight is you're going to see a lot of people trying to use as much of the track as they are given, and we may see a couple of people hitting the wall going into some corners, especially through turn 1. Just like I said, using as much pavement as they are able to.
Yeah, I think that's a great call on Abner Acosta with the slowdown penalty. He probably got it going into that backstretch chicane as we see a replay back here entering turn number 11. And now down into, or sorry, that's turn number 12, now into 13. This is Jacob Klein we're on board with. He gets spun around by the 21. Absolutely nothing he could do there. He was kind of slowing down for the vehicle in front of him. And just kind of didn't get the same patience in return from the car behind him, and he goes around early, and that puts a really big damper on the beginning of his race. But Abner Acosta, he started 5th, and he's fallen all the way back to 10th after one lap. That's just the nature of having a slowdown at the beginning after kind of just giving up a little bit of spots. But on the flip side of that, Sean Conklin, he started 10th, and he's up to 6th by the end of lap number 1, and he's got
Oh,
to
he
slow
got
down
to
too, it
slow down
seems.
too.
Yeah, he's got to slow down. He's going to fall all the way back to Abner Acosta, and Abner's actually going to fight him back on the outside, going down into turn number 12. It's all about who outbreaks who right here. Abner's probably got the preferred line coming out as he can get the inside coming into turn number 13. He just outbreaks him a little bit and gets him clear.
Yeah, we were looking at a replay there on the main feed. That was Jacob Klein going deep into turn 1 again, but a little bit further back in the midfield here, this is Mark Paget, and I can't quite catch who that is, the 79 machine. Oh, man, Paget gets spun. A replay, or was that on live? That was a replay, actually, so.
We've actually had a change for the lead as well. Rodrigo Neves has fallen off just a little bit here in the early going. Adam Williams has actually gotten by him, and Rodrigo is under pressure from Andrew Dyson for 2nd place.
I think he may just be saving here. Either that or he had a slowdown at one point.
This is the pass for the lead right here. We see Rodrigo Neves in front going into turn number 12. I imagine this might just be a lockup. No, wow.
Wow.
Adam Williamson just gets in really, really deep. Completely kills the right front tire on that pass, but he does get through to the lead, and he's starting to build just a minor gap over Rodrigo here as he's still under pressure from Andrew Dyson.
That was impressive. I'm speechless here. Oh, we got a car off in the background. What's that? That is Richard Garcia, the 9 car, and he looks like he's just gonna pull it down pit road.
That's that. He was up to 6th place after starting 8th. Can't quite tell. It looks like he just lost it coming out of the back, or going into the backstretch chicane. He hit that big curb on the exit of turn number 6, spun him around to the right, absolutely killed his tires, just about goes into the inside wall. He actually does hit the inside wall with his right front, so that's unfortunate from Richard Garcia as he actually towed back to the pit, so I imagine his night's done.
Unfortunate there. I mean, that's just the nature of this track. One tiny mistake in your race, and especially a mistake that early in the race with how cold the tires still are. I mean, these drivers aren't going to be seeing really fast lap times until probably about lap 10 or 15 in this run. I mean, in some A Opens, I've seen fast laps run on lap 25 of the race. So it's mainly a waiting game, just waiting for the tires to come in. That's why we're seeing a lot of single file here. It's just people really don't have the confidence or the brakes or tires just to be able to make passes into the corners. But give it about 10, 15 laps, and we'll start seeing some pretty big sins. Speaking of the devil, there's one right there headed down into turn 1.
Yeah, a big reason why we see the I don't know, it's not necessarily the tires coming in around lap 25, but it's really the fuel tank getting empty, right? So there's not too much tire wear over the course of a road course race, especially here at Indianapolis. So what you're really waiting on, and this is going to be a big strategy call later in the race for a lot of these guys, is when to pit, because your fuel tank gets like dwindled down further and further until it's almost empty. So you're going to see a lot of people run it as long as they can so they can have as many laps on that low fuel mode as possible. And then they'll pit and probably short fuel it to have just enough fuel to make it to the end, just so that they can have a double dose of that low fuel mileage, or not low fuel mileage, but low fuel in the tank, and be able to run the fast laps. I saw in the 1A Open I did this week, Garrett Maines, I mean, he was unbelievably stupid fast whenever the fuel tank got low. I mean, he was stupid fast anyway, but as soon as the fuel tank got low, I saw him just absolutely take off even faster, running like low to mid 127s. So I think that we're going to see a lot of kind of strategy calls with the fuel. Now, we can't necessarily tell how much fuel each person puts in, but I guarantee you the front runners are going to be very mindful about how much fuel they put in on their pit stop.
Yeah, we may also see a few people pit right as soon as they know they're able to make it, which that number should be sitting right around lap 10 to lap 13. We'll see a couple people peel off down pit road just to make sure they have their pit stop out of the way. But I'm not 100% sure what's faster, short pitting or running it all the way out. But either way, like you said, as soon as these guys pit, these cars are going to get incredibly fast throughout the rest of this race.
Yeah, I really just think it depends on where you're running. If you're tucked up behind a couple cars and you just really can't break past that pack, even though you think you're faster, you're just holding on, but maybe their dirty air is just affecting you a little bit to where you can't get past them. The short pitting can definitely become useful because you pit, get the new tires on. Once the tires come in, you're going to be running just a little bit faster than those guys, even though you have more fuel. So it's really just a strategy game on whether you think you can short pit somebody to jump positions or whether you think you can run it all the way along with the low fuel to run the faster laps towards the end of the fuel tank. But we're on board here. Can't quite tell. That's Joshua Watson going just a little bit wide as we go to replay right here. See the O2 car.
Mark Paget once again. Looks like he just gets a little bit too deep into turn 1 is what I'm assuming here. Actually, no, he gets in pretty well. Actually, yeah, he did go deep and just took a little lawn mowing trip.
I'm interested to see our top 3 is still within a second of each other. So we've got a really good battle for the front, just everybody kind of keeping each other honest. There's no like hard position battles up front. The top 5 is all within our view right there. So everybody's just keeping each other honest. If you make one mistake, you're going to fall back 5, 6, 7 seconds, depending on how big the mistake is. So all these guys are probably taking it just a little bit easy here, not pushing their stuff too hard as we're just watching Andrew Dyson here come around turn number 4, setting himself up nicely for 5 and 6 of the backstretch chicane. And you just see how much curb they're taking on that second apex. I mean, the guys up front, and oh man, even Neil Pearson there in 5th place, I mean, they are taking all of the curb going over that.
Yeah, it's a very sketchy thing to do, especially with how sensitive these cars are over curbs, but it's something you have to do to be fast. That's why we see a lot of mistakes, especially going through turn 5 in that second apex. It's just it's a game of risk versus reward through that chicane, and sometimes it's a little bit more risk and a lot less reward, but the lap time is definitely there if you have the fortitude to take that curb as hard as these guys do.
Yeah, these next gen cars really don't like being off the ground. I don't know if it's with the diffuser or what it is with the floor effects, but if you get the car off of 2 wheels, and I don't know, it's just something weird about this car. It just chatters whenever it hits the ground, and you just can't get the power down because it's just sideways, and you just really can't do anything about it. What's different about the backstretch chicane there with that big bump is that you're at such high speed, and you're hitting it in a way where all 4 tires are coming off the ground. So it's almost like you land, and if you hit it perfect, then you land and all 4 tires get back on the ground at the same time, so you can keep going. But every time I was going through that corner, even though it's right-hander, I was turning left to keep it going straight down the straightaway. So even with it being a little bit different than the other slower big curbs that you really, really do not want to hit, it's just I don't know, it's just strange how that one reacts a whole lot different compared to the slower ones, like going into turn 1 and going into turn 7.
I mean, yeah, this track is just very weird. It's a very weird track, and I think we can both agree on that. This track, I mean, to be fair, I don't think this track deserves a spot on the NASCAR schedule just because of how difficult it is with this, especially with this car. But that's why we're in the booth and not on the track.
I don't necessarily mind the difficultness. I like it being hard to drive. I like seeing the best drivers on sim and in real life struggle, right? I think that's why I like the Chicago road course so much. It was so bumpy. It was tough for the drivers. There was just different kinds of challenges. So I like the challenges that this track presents, but it's just not as prestigious as the oval. So I agree that it shouldn't be on the schedule, just for different reasons.
Yeah, I really like the Chicago Street Course. It's probably been my favorite road course of the year. Of course, me being a big-time road course guy. Oh, spin on the track here. That's
Lawrence Shaughnessy.
Uh-oh.
Couldn't quite tell what happened to him prior to that, but he is going to get it righted back on track, and that's probably going to lose him a good 15 seconds. He's got grass on his tires, so it's going to be a little tough to get that worn back up, but he is righted and on his way. I can't quite tell how far he fell back, but he was running 20th prior to it.
It looks like it was heading into turn 8, coming out of turn 7, maybe. Tanner Marty to his inside. Was this just no, didn't quite get to his inside. Did he just get on the curb and loop it? Oh no. 21 machine got into him.
Yeah, it almost looked like Lawrence was trying to use more of the racetrack coming off that corner, and the 21 didn't want to use all the racetrack coming off the corner. So it's just fighting for the same real estate. I really don't think that's Lawrence. Yeah, I just don't think this was Lawrence Shaughnessy's fault. He took a very good line. He gave the 21 plenty of room, but the 21 just kind of corrected out of the corner and kind of bulldozed through his right rear a little bit, and he almost came back on and collected another car, but Lawrence did a good job getting that turn back around, and hopefully he can recover.
We're having a pretty good. I've been watching our battle for the lead, and it's been getting somewhat close here in the last couple of laps. I mean, that last lap, Adam Williams was just over a tenth faster than Rodrigo Narvaez, so it's getting closer, but it's been stagnating right around 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, I just love seeing the 2 front cars go into these heavy braking zones, seeing Rodrigo close the gap, and then once you get back onto the main oval or the main straightaways, you just kind of see the gap open back up as the 15 is able to get on the gas just a little bit faster than Rodrigo is. But it doesn't really open up too much coming onto the front stretch this time by, and I think Rodrigo's actually going to cut the gap just about in half this lap. It was 0.6 of a second. Now it's down to 3, and he might be looking to the inside of Adam Williams for the lead here, but I think he's just going to fall back in line and just trying to get some clean air on the nose for that braking zone.
Got a little bit too hard on the brakes and the rear started to come out. He had a chance at a move going into turn 1 there, just didn't quite have the braking capability there. So It's just going to be another frustrating lap sitting behind that 15 car. And Rodrigo was actually faster by about 3 tenths. That's where that 3 tenths in that gap came from, with Adam Williams running a 129.062 compared to Rodrigo Narvaez's 128.817. So the time is there for that 10 car, but the 15 is just way too fast right now.
Yeah, and these two are starting to pull away from Andrew Dyson in third. I thought he'd be a little bit more on their heels coming to this point of the race, but he has fallen back to about a second and a half, 1.7 off of the 2 leaders. He could just be saving his stuff. You know, it's a long race, and, you know, whenever you have to take that pit stop, there could be a little bit of tire strategy with it, too. Maybe you don't want to take tires since you're not going to fill it up all the way with fuel. So there could be a little bit of strategy played here with Andrew Dyson just not trying to kill his tires so that he can make it all the way to the finish with the start or the set that he started on.
Yeah, you actually don't want to take tires at road courses. It's a weird little bug with the tire model here on the next gen car at road courses. For whatever reason, and I still haven't figured this out, so I'm not the greatest one to be explaining this, but for whatever reason, the tires really don't wear on the next gen at a road course, and it's not beneficial at all to take tires. So especially in some of these longer races, you'd be surprised to see people take tires. People will not be taking tires at all this race.
That makes a lot of sense because going into like your first lap or your your out lap whenever you're trying to go to qualifying, there's absolutely zero grip. It feels like you have about 60% of the like max grip that you could have, and people just go off all the time. So it makes sense to keep those nice warm tires on so that you're not giving up time on the first lap or two. Unfortunate that it's coded in that way, but I'm sure that'll get fixed relatively soon. I know iRacing has a lot of great people working on this car and on this series, so I'm sure that'll get all ironed out pretty soon. But I'm still interested because you know typically on these road courses the lead gets spread out a little bit, it gets just further and further apart, and you know the 2 leaders are still stretching their gap over third, over fourth, over fifth, but they're not losing each other. And we see Adam is just going a little deep into a couple of these braking zones, keeping Rodrigo right on his tail. There's not a lot between these two. I mean, they've just been nose to tail ever since the beginning of this race. We saw Adam accidentally make a move earlier. He did apologize on the text chat of the NIS race, but you know, ever since then they've just been nose to tail.
Yeah, they're really close in time. I mean, that last timing loop, they were less than 300ths of a second separated in terms of time, and we're coming up to another timing loop here. As we're gonna take a look at the replay real quick. Looks like a little bit further back in the field. That's the 5 car.
Abner Acosta gets in a little deep here. You see his back end get a little bit around. Oh, that's not even his fault.
Sean going bowling there.
Yeah, Sean had nowhere to go with that. I can't tell who that
man.
8 car was in front, but the 8 car just acted like Abner was not on his inside at all coming into that corner. I don't think Abner did anything wrong. Obviously, Sean didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he was just an innocent bystander. But yeah, the 8 car, man, I still can't tell who that is off of the nameplate up top. There's a couple new paint schemes in here. You know, if it was it looks like it was Kunitz, I believe.
Yeah, Ronnie Kunitz and Abner Acosta.
Just a couple new paint
Kurtz?
schemes, a couple new drivers, with it being a road course. I'm just not used to a lot of these guys' paint schemes, so I apologize for some of that. And obviously the numbers being a little different than what it says on here makes it a little bit more difficult for me. But you know, see Ronnie Kuritz here trying to get back on track. I mean, he's doing a good job waiting for everybody. Does he stop doing? Oh no, he does a good job. Okay, I thought we were going to see him have a terrible rejoin that was going to get him protested there. But we're going to Billy Shea here going into turn 11. It looks like, or turn 12.
That's turn 1 and turn 2, actually.
Oh my goodness, these heavy braking zones are getting me all mixed up. My apologies on that, but yeah, a couple little slip ups there for a little while. I mentioned my producer last week was a C-tier broadcast or C-tier producer, and you're getting a C-tier broadcaster tonight. It sounds like, unfortunately. But now this is turn number 7, as we see Brian Young just get a little wide, ends up getting a little loose, does a good job going right instead of left. Instead of taking out all his competitors, he decided to go off track. Cost him a couple spots, a little bit of time, but no harm, no foul. He's back on track and back straight.
Still a really close battle here for our lead. Looks like Rodrigo Narvaez is going to at least show his nose to the inside. That doesn't always necessarily mean he's going to make a move, but you never know. We could see exactly what Adam Williams did to take the lead and just get it too deep going into the corner, and we didn't see that there into turn 1. But this battle is just it looks like it's just going to be a stalemate all throughout the race. Just, you know, one of those slow boxing matches where it's, you know, like the heavyweight championship or something, where we're just seeing, you know, one lumbering punch after another, and it's just going to be one of those, you know, all race matchups that we're going to see between these two.
Yeah, I can definitely see the same thing happening. It's just, if I'm Rodrigo, I got to be feeling pretty good about myself right now, though, because he's been hounding him this entire time. And typically, if you're right on somebody's bumper for 10, 12 laps, as we've been Yeah, we're 12 laps deep into this race right now. You're probably faster than the guy in front of you. You just can't get by him. So it could just be him saving his stuff a little bit, him not pushing just to make sure he doesn't run off the track and make a major mistake. But I think if Rodrigo got clear of Adam, he'd probably start running away.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's one of those of I think Rodrigo Narvaez is just sitting back, waiting for him to make a mistake. That's one of the better things you can do at a road course, especially in these cars, is just sit behind a guy for as many laps as we've seen here tonight, and just wait for him to make a mistake. Either that, or another thing you can do is just get up right behind him and ride his bumper the entire time. Just kind of force him into a mistake, and it's starting to work because I've seen a couple of lockups out of that. I believe it's the 15 car of Adam Williams heading into some of these heavier braking zones.
Yeah, we're actually seeing Andrew Dyson kind of crawl back into the picture for the lead. He's cut off a little bit of time. Rodrigo actually gets held up by a lap car that just came out of the pits a little bit ago, going into turn 2. They're exiting turn number 4 now, going into the backstretch chicane. But man, the battle for the lead's definitely tightened up. Andrew Dyson is finding himself back onto the back. He's about a second back from Rodrigo now. It was about a second and a half not too long ago. So he's definitely doing a good job reeling it back in. Like I said, Rodrigo cost himself a little bit of time behind that lap car. Not really much he could do, but I do think he's going to get right back on the rear bumper of Adam here within the next lap.
Yeah, he was a little bit slower actually compared to Adam Williams that last loop. Just about a tenth, about 1.3 tenths of a second there slower than Adam Williams. But that may have been due to the lap car in turn 1. So this lap is definitely going to be slower, as he was about 0.3 of a second behind Adam Williams heading into 1. And now, as you can see, it's upwards of almost a second. So a little bit slower here for Narvaez, but he should make that time up very quickly. And he pulled down almost a tenth there.
Yeah, Rodrigo just looks to be really, really good in the braking zones, the heavy braking zones. He's using all the racetrack, really making sure he gets all the way up to the wall, going down into turn 7. He's getting all the way right next to the grass, just really extending the braking zone as far as he can. And that's something that you see on iRacing. A lot of people kind of have they have a big trouble or a big struggle spot in the heavy braking zones where they start shallowing up the entry of their corner before they actually need to turn in. I think you saw it a little bit right there with the 7 and the 11. They both kind of just started turning in a little bit sooner than they should have. That's JR Borborema in the 7. But if you let it go straight, I think that's Joshua Watson spun out with somebody else towards the back there in the, I believe that was turn number 12. Yeah, it's Joshua Watson off. I couldn't tell who the other car was, but there was definitely some contact back there. I don't think that was a solo spin, as Joshua Watson is going to come in for his pit stop.
Yeah, because we are within the pit window to make it on fuel from here. The fuel window is looking at about 32 laps here tonight at Indy Road. So we should see some people start peeling it off here within the next couple of laps. As Joshua Watson looks like he just gets a little bit too hot. Almost follows the dude in front. Yeah, he does follow the guy in front of him. Just goes in a little bit too hot, and that's just, oh man.
Kind of a bad rejoin.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough. You really don't want to take as much time as you can to get back on. Like, obviously you want to get on as fast as possible, but if you've got a group of cars coming behind you like that, you just kind of have to take your medicine and not make it worse. It just seemed like he made it a little bit worse than it needed to be right there. But our producer was talking about JR Borborema in our ear a second ago. He's up from 24th to 8th in the early going of this run. So he's absolutely climbed up. He ran a 132.4 in qualifying. So I imagine he just had an awful qualifying. He only put in 1 lap. His first lap was actually disallowed. So JR up 16 spots, and he is running, let me check his lap times. Yeah, he's running 2 seconds faster than he ran in qualifying. So JR Borborema coming through the field really easily, it seems. I mean, making up 16 places on a road course in 14 laps, that's very impressive.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pace there, especially like you said at a road course. It's one of the trickier road courses to pass at, because there's really only, if I'm sitting here thinking about it, there's only really 2 places you could pass into, and that's going to be into turn 1 and into turn 7. There's not really, I mean, technically, if you really wanted to, you could pass into any corner here, but the only real shots at passing you have are, like I said, into turn 1 and into turn 7. But right as I say it, they're making me look dumb, and they're making passes through turn 2 and turn 3.
Well, we did see them go heavy into the braking zone there, but we're actually going to take a commercial break before the real green flag pit stops kind of start here. So we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Friday night NIS Open from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Austin Edstrom with my co-host Nick Stein and producer Austin Darbyshire. God bless, we're having a great night here, obviously. But anyway, our battle for the lead is heating up. It seems like Adam Williams is kind of feeling the pressure here from Rodrigo. He's kind of gone deep into a couple of these heavy braking zones the past couple laps. And it probably doesn't help that they're seeing Andrew Dyson get even bigger in their mirrors. Rodrigo almost goes up the inside. He actually gets just a little bit of a bump from Andrew coming out of turn number 1. And they go through turn 2. And Rodrigo gets just a little bit sideways. They all keep it on the track, though. And that's going to let Adam build just a little bit of a gap going into this backstretch chicane.
Oh, man, that got really close between your top three. It almost looked like Andrew Dyson wanted to make a move around the outside, but thought better of it because he's coming up into turn 7 now, which is going to be one of the better overtaking spots. But I don't even think the 44 car Rodrigo Narvaez is even going to try to defend here, as Andrew Dyson's going to at least peek a nose. Doesn't have the speed for a move going into here, but like I said, this is turning in one of those heavyweight slugfests that we were talking about.
Yeah, I just love seeing that we've got 3 cars all in the fight for the lead. So many times on road courses, you see it start spreading out. Maybe you've got 1 car just dominating. Maybe you've got 2, but we've got 3 that are all nose to tail, just keeping each other honest. And we've started to see some mistakes out of a couple of these drivers that are just, it's inching closer and closer towards somebody making a major mistake that could ruin their race. I don't necessarily want to see that. I want to see this 3-car battle the entire way through, but Andrew Dyson, he's just continuing to hound both of the leaders. I think he's probably the faster of the 3. I don't know. I just think if he can get clear of both these guys, and I said the same thing about Rodrigo, I think he's on pace a little bit faster than Adam, and if he got clear of him, he'd pull away. But I kind of feel the same about Andrew. I just think that the 2 behind Adam are a little bit quicker, but if they start battling each other, it's going to be tough for them to build or to recover a gap that Adam might be able to build if they do get side by side.
Yeah, that's one of the weird. That's one of the things about road courses is, especially when you have these like big time battles that we're seeing right here, especially with 3 cars. Sometimes it'll wear you out, both mentally and physically, and sometimes that will lead to a lot more mistakes. And we haven't seen that quite yet, but we're not even halfway into this race yet, so we still got a lot of race to go. But these 3 are nose to tail, and it seems to be wearing all 3 of them out, and we'll see who makes the first mistake here.
It's a really good call on the fatigue. The road courses are just so much more physically demanding than the ovals. As we look at a replay here of the 4 of John Whitendorf going into turn number 12, one of the hardest braking zones on the track. He just gets a little sideways, spins it out, goes through the grass. Honestly, does a pretty good job not making any more damage off of that. But I know he got a big slowdown off of that. I mean, he cut a ton of the track, so that's gonna definitely drop him through the running order a little bit. That's just one of the tough spots on the track, man. One of the hardest. As we look at another replay of number 25 of Jason Wallach going into the same corner, I imagine it's gonna look pretty similar. Oh, he actually locks up going in. He actually doesn't get sideways, but he still goes straight on. Does a good job coming back on the track. Oh, never mind. He did not.
Right as you say it.
He did not do a good job coming back on the track. He got a little too sideways, too happy on the gas. Going to another replay of Toga Hisada going down into turn number 7. Is it going to be another lockup? Oh, yeah, that's another big lock. Oh, he just gets in too deep and cleans out. I can't. Oh, the 8 just had nowhere to go. I believe he made a mistake earlier. I believe that's.
Ooh, getting a little bit chippy for the lead.
Oh,
just got a little
goodness.
bit chippy for the lead up front here. A little bit of. Still looking at this replay. I want to get a replay of what just happened for our lead.
Poor Ronnie Curtis had nothing to do with that one. Toga just got in so deep. I mean, he probably makes that corner if Ronnie's not there, just barely, but he was definitely going in too fast for Ronnie having to check up to let somebody through, and just ended up being an innocent bystander there. Ronnie ended up being. But yeah, we have a good battle for the lead still. I mean, they're still within a second of each other. We saw it get really, really tight going into turn 1. I know we missed it on replays, but nobody switched position or anything, just a little bit of bumper banging. Everybody's still going straight, and they've actually built a 10-second gap back to 4th place. Latoro the Butcher Lamperti following up his good top 10 run at Michigan with a solid 5th place right here with about half of the race completed. And I do think we're going to start seeing the green flag pit stops here on these guys short pitting in about 10 laps.
Yeah, we should be seeing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Rodrigo Nevaez just locked up. He's off the track right now.
Oh, that's going into that turn 12, the difficult corner. We've seen so many people make so many mistakes. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that one going. Oh, man, that's tough. We had a really good 3-car battle. It'll be interesting to see if he can run the 2 leaders back down. He didn't lose too much time, but whenever the leaders are so close like that, any bit of time can be major. He just gets a little too deep going into the corner, locks up that right front, does a good job not making it worse than it could have been, as we saw a couple replays ago from somebody else. Just completely spin it out as they came back on the track. Rodrigo did a good job of not doing that, but he did lose 4 seconds to the leaders.
Yeah, what I was getting ready to say before that happened is we've seen a couple people pit early and just make sure they can make it on field, but that doesn't seem to be the fastest option. It seems to me that the fastest option is going to be running it long, like you said, and just waiting for the fuel to completely run out, and that's when we're going to see a lot of these fast times start to build up. And you're actually right on the money. We're looking at about 11 laps left on a fuel run here.
It'll be interesting to see just what all the different leaders do. Are they all smart enough to really understand the strategy of putting in the fuel, like just enough to make it to the end? We do have Rodrigo's the 10 car and Adam is the 15, so maybe they're not as experienced road racers as Andrew Dyson, so they could potentially make some type of fueling mistake. It's a very kind of niche thing that you really need to just be really aware of as Andrew gets into the wall going into turn 12. Probably helped him slow down for the corner a little bit, if I'm being honest with you. I may have used the turn 1 wall a couple of times in my A open to slow down my car. It can be a tool, especially in these next-gen cars where the body's so heavy, or so, I don't know, it's so rigid and you just really don't damage it off of just light contact. If you're not going to make the corner, you can maybe just put it in the wall like, who was it in the Road America race for the Xfinity? I think it was Chandler Smith that he had a brake failure.
Yeah,
he
lost
put it into
the brakes and just put it straight in the wall.
Yeah, but maybe that's a little bit more aggressive than what I was saying. But still, it works the same. But Rodrigo...
I mean, no. You're not hitting the wall. You just tell them the track promoters where they need to put the wall next year. Come on now.
Hey, that's a fair point. It's not my fault. It's the track's fault. But either way, Rodrigo actually cut the gap by about 5 tenths that lap, and he's continuing to have the lead dwindle down a little bit. I really just think the 2nd and 3rd place cars are a little bit faster than the leader, but the leader's just got that clean air. He's just dirtying it up for everybody behind him to where they just can't get a run through these slow corners. And, he's doing a good job hanging on to it while the other two have kind of made a couple little mistakes. Oh, man, as we see a big mistake from Lawrence Shaughnessy in the back right there before the replay. But it looks like he kept it straight. Is this Jason Wallott again, I believe? Going into turn number 12. No, it's Alan Wilson. My bad. I do not know these paint schemes this week, but Alan Wilson just goes deep. Same mistake we've been seeing so many people make. It does a really good job not putting it on the grass. We've seen people get on the grass and just make a big mistake. But yeah, there's a Lawrence Shaughnessy replay. But oh wow, he did a good job too. I know if I jumped over that.
Oh, Adam Williams just went off. Adam Williams is almost spinning.
And that's a huge mistake that's going to give the lead to Andrew Dyson for the first time today. He's going to lead his first lap. It's not as big of a mistake from Adam as we saw Rodrigo earlier, but he did lose the lead for the first time this evening.
Hey, oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, is this a replay or is this live? Because
That's the replay.
Okay, this is a replay. Just making sure.
I feel bad for him there because he just saw a lap car who was just going way off the pace, if I'm being honest. Way off the pace compared to the leaders, and the lap car was taking the normal line, but as the leader, you just don't really know where to go in that situation. You don't know if he's giving you the line or not. And whenever somebody's that far off the pace going into a heavy braking zone like that, it just puts you off major. So I feel for Adam Williams there. I don't know if there's anything better he could have done in that situation. I mean, he just got put in a tough spot by a lap car. You kind of expect somebody to maybe know the leaders are coming up behind you, and I don't know, going into a heavy braking zone like that, you would hope to have a little bit more grace from somebody, but it just didn't happen that time.
Yeah, don't look now, but here comes Rodrigo Narvaez. He's coming back into this fight. He was about 2.6 seconds off at the start of the last lap, and he's pulled it down to under 2 seconds. He was right on about 0.6 of a second quicker than both your leaders right now, especially with that mistake from Adam Williams. So we'll see if he's going to be able to turn that pace into some actual passes for position here.
Yeah, if I'm Rodrigo, I'm thinking I have to get by Adam immediately because I really think Andrew Dyson in the clean air is just going to be able to pull away from both these guys. We saw he kind of fell off at the beginning. I think he was maybe just saving his stuff, making sure he didn't overheat the tires, because while the tires don't wear too much, you can definitely overheat them to lose some grip through the corner. So maybe he was just keeping them under him, making sure he didn't make any mistakes. But now that he's in the clean air, it's going to be tough for these guys to run him back down. I think Rodrigo might have something for him as he was actually faster than him that lap. Rodrigo made up another 10th, and Adam lost 3. So I think Rodrigo's got something, but he's got to get past Adam really quick.
Yeah, it seems like Adam Williams is just falling off. He's made a couple of mistakes, mainly that big lockup, but I mean, we've seen a couple of bigger lockups from that 15 car here so far, but that's one of the things about this track is if you make one mistake and let it get to your head, that's just going to pile up into more and more mistakes, and that seems to be what's happening with the 15 right now.
It's so hard to come back from a big mistake like that, though, and be as smooth as you were before. I mean, if you put 4 wheels off, I mean, it is so difficult to get your rhythm back. He's worked the entire race to have that rhythm. He's been in the lead the entire race after I believe it was like a lap 2 or 3 pass that he made for the lead. But just being able to recover from that is just so difficult. And like you had mentioned, we've seen him make a couple braking errors into the heavy braking zones that have kept the second place and third place cars with him throughout the entire event. But now that he's not got the lead, he doesn't have the clean air, he just seems to be falling off of off of Andrew just a little bit.
Yeah, he's lost about 0.3 this lap, and he's got Rodrigo Narvaez up his bumper once again. I mean, we've seen this so many times here tonight, but that's Drew Eisenman going into turn 1. Did he just get a little deep, or am I crazy? It's up 18 positions according to our producer, so that's a pretty good I believe it was Borborema. JR Borborema is up our biggest, up 16 right now. Is that 18? I believe so. He is our biggest mover right now of this race.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I'm curious to see if maybe a couple of people have maybe come down pit roads to some of these guys that have been at the back of the pack or kind of picking off a few freebie positions. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm interested to see after the entire fuel run kind of gets, completed. I'm interested to see around lap like 34, 35, how these positions shake out, especially with the big movers. I don't think JR has benefited any from anybody pitting. He's been in 8th place for the last 15 laps, so I think JR is on merit maybe our biggest mover, but I do think that Drew I think Drew's maybe picked up a couple positions off of pit stops. But our battle for the second position, like you mentioned, Narvaez, he is keeping him honest, but he's really got to get past him early. Like I said, he cannot be sitting here behind Adam. As we see Sean Conklin going way deep into turn 1, he just lost the rear end under braking. It's always scary to rejoin at a 90-degree angle, but nobody was coming, so it ended up being all right. But that's a couple times that we've seen Sean Conklin be involved in some issues. I believe that's the first time it's been on him, though.
Ooh, here comes
Rodrigo Narvaez is coming into pit road. That's going to be our first.
Adam
early
Williams
hitters.
almost spins right behind him too.
Going to be really interested to see if Rodrigo comes out in clean air. That's going to be where the major gains are. Also making sure that he doesn't take 4 tires. That's going to be a really big indicator on where he's going to come out, whether he can still fight for the lead. So hopefully he doesn't make the mistake of putting on tires. We're going to see here as he's coming down. I do believe he's got the first pit box, so he's got a long way down pit road at 40 miles an hour, trying not to speed. Looking at him right now, he's going 41, so he's definitely pushing it. Just trying to make sure that he gets every little bit that he can. But I mean, goodness gracious, this pit road is so slow.
I mean, isn't for the oval pit road, isn't the speed limit like 60 or 55 or something like that?
I I I honestly don't know. I don't think it's 55 or 60. It might be like 45 or 50, but I know that they keep it slow because it's such a tight pit road. So in real life, they got to keep it safe. Oh,
Oh,
the
Andrew
leader just
Dyson
gets spun by a
around.
lap car. Oh my goodness, Andrew Dyson just gets spun around. That's going to give the lead to Adam Williams again, and that costs Andrew so much time through the backstretch chicane. We're going to have to get a replay of that to see what happened.
And you know what? That's going to benefit. That's going to benefit Rodrigo Narvaez. He's going to jump both Adam Williams and Andrew Dyson because they both made mistakes as.
It looked like Jose Acosta just wasn't willing to give up the lead lap. I don't know why, considering we don't have any cautions, but he just made a big error. Like, I don't know. If I see the leader coming behind me, I'm a whole hell of a lot nicer than what he just was. If I'm Andrew Dyson, I am furious with Jose Acosta.
Yeah, sorry about that. My little game deck fell and my headset unplugged. Yeah, it looks like the 24 just. I don't know if Andrew Dyson was. I gotta look at that again. I think that may have been on Andrew Dyson there.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely used all the racetrack that he could, but Jose was not using the entire width of the racetrack coming out of the corner. He was running narrow, still turning hard left coming out. And like I said, if it's the leader coming up, you just don't do that on road courses, right? Like, you don't fight the leader on road courses like that. I think that's just some shady crap there from Jose, if I'm being honest. If I'm the one, I am pissed off. I mean, that infuriates me just watching. That's the leader who is lapping you on merit and you're in 18th place. That's just disgusting behavior, if I'm going to be honest.
Tell us what you really think.
I'm very frustrated. That pisses me off, if I'm being honest.
Well, Andrew Dyson, even with that mistake, he still would have gotten jumped by Rodrigo Narvaez there. Rodrigo Narvaez is probably a good 10 seconds ahead, 10-15 seconds ahead of Andrew Dyson there. Sorry, I had a brain fart there.
I don't know. He had a 2-second gap to Rodrigo before Rodrigo came down to pit. So I don't know. I think if he just covered him off on that lap or the lap after, I think that he probably keeps the lead as we see our new P1, Adam Williams, come down pit road. Like I said, Andrew Dyson ends up being 20 seconds behind the leader now before the pit stops. I mean, he was leading the race and he gets taken out by a lap car. I'm sorry. I'm so frustrated. I hate seeing poor racecraft and people just not like, you don't have to yield to the leader, but you don't race them like that. So I don't know. I'm very frustrated.
Yeah, and Adam Williams is 100% going to get jumped because the 15 hasn't even stopped. Rodrigo Narvaez is coming through the last corner now, so yeah, it's not even going to be close between the 15 and the 44. So that's easily going to put the 44 in the net lead once pit stops all cycle out here.
Yeah, man, Adam Williams is coming out right now as Rodrigo goes by, flying down into turn 1. And yeah, you're right. It's absolutely not a close race at this point. I mean, Rodrigo's put in some good laps ever since his pit stop, and he's been able to jump both the two leaders, obviously with Andrew, none of his fault, just getting completely screwed over by a lap car. But yeah, Rodrigo to the lead. I mean, he's run a good race, right? Like, I don't think that he had that little minor mistake going into 12, but he kept it on track to where he only lost about 3-4 seconds, and he cut the lead back in half after that mistake. So Rodrigo's definitely run the cleanest race out of the leaders. I can't stop harping on the Andrew Dyson incident. I just expect better from somebody as good as Jose Acosta to know this is the leader. I have no chance of fighting him. Why take his time? Why ruin his race? I don't know. It's just, I can't stop harping on that. But we're actually going to go to our final commercial break of the afternoon as we have Neil Pearson in the lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Friday night NIS Open, as we've got Neil Pearson still leading. I believe a couple people have still yet to pit, including Neil. The net leader is actually going to be Rodrigo Nevaez. I do believe we have a couple replays queued up to show you guys. A couple things did happen while you were away. Going into turn number 7 here, Billy Shea just gets a little deep. Ends up, well, he does just about a good job keeping it on the track, but he just dips 2 wheels onto the grass, and that spins him right around. You know, a lot of people say that iRacing grass physics isn't realistic. I've been seeing a lot of replays from real life racing where if you do that exact thing, you spin around. So I think it's pretty realistic. It's pretty on par. As we've got Mario Alfredo going into turn 12 here. Nothing too bad through there, but he just gets a little bit too much on the gas, spins it out to the right, and just goes straight in the grass. Once you get in it, you just can't stop. He just about goes to the garage entrance back there. That's kind of funny. We got another replay. Sean Conklin. Oh, no, not Sean again. Sean is normally one of the fastest that we get on the ovals, but he's been caught up in a couple accidents here so far today. He gets into turn 7 just a little bit too deep, locks up the left front tire, and gets into the grass with all 4. Rips him around just a little bit. He does a good job not getting anybody else involved and is able to keep it straight coming back on track. Another replay with Adam Williams, same corner, turn number 7. My goodness, it's the trouble spot today. Turn 7 and turn 12 have just been so difficult for our competitors here today. Again, a left front lockup because he gets in a little bit too deep. 2 tires off. Once you get 2 tires off, you're almost always going to get 4. Honestly, does a really good job not losing too much time there from Adam Williams. So good job from him. My goodness, turn 7 again, Mark Padgett. We've just got so many replays at turn 7. We just need to have a turn 7 camera, if I'm being honest. Again, he goes a little bit too deep. I feel like I'm watching the same replay on repeat with just different paint schemes. But he does a good job too, not spinning it around. Is this another replay of turn 7? If it is, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, thank God it's not. John Weitendorf going to turn 12, our other trouble spot. Oh, man. Just a couple tires off the road. All 4 end up going off. He does a good job keeping it back on the track. I've got a big smile on my face because I'm just laughing from all the turn 7 mayhem. Just a couple people making mistakes. Finally, we're going live. Thank God. No more mistakes.
You know what?
But hey, we've got Abner Acosta here. Let's see if he makes a mistake going into turn 7. I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Commentator's purse going crazy.
No hate on. Oh my! Oh, he got a little sideways. He got a little sideways. I saw it. He got a little sideways.
Oh man, you're pretty much frothing at the mouth for a mistake into turn 7 at this point.
It's killing me. But hey, as we've been talking about turn 7, we've got a big stack up in turn 7 from 2nd and 3rd place. We have seen Andrew Dyson get onto the back bumper of Adam Williams. He needs to get past Adam's really. I can't even talk. I'm laughing so hard from turn 7. Adam Williams. I'm sorry, man. This is hilarious to me. Andrew Dyson is hounding our 2nd place driver of Adam Williams. And you know what? With all the mayhem in turn 7, I would not be surprised if Rodrigo Nevaez makes a mistake into turn 7 at some point and brings these guys back into the fray. So Andrew really just he needs to get past Adam as soon as possible. He's definitely holding them up a little bit as they come.
I got a new name for turn 7 here.
What's that going to be?
All right, so you know how the Tom's Heartburn turn at Charlotte Roval is turn 1? They need to rename Tom's Heartburn turn to turn 7 because that seems to be where we're seeing all the mistakes tonight, and especially on a lot of these road courses.
Replay. It's a turn 7 replay. Alan Wilson going into turn 7. Let's see what happens. Is it a left front lockup after he goes too deep? Well, no, it's not. Thank you for being different, Alan Wilson. It's still turn 7, but you did something different. I appreciate that, sir. He just got a little loose. But we did have a pass for second place. Andrew Dyson has taken second place from Adam Williams right before the backstretch chicane here. Oh, Adam gets a little beat there, just about cleans him out. But, I mean, if he goes deep into that corner, I'm sure he's going to go deep into turn number 7 at the end of this backstretch. Let's see. Can Adam Williams keep it on track?
You're having too much fun with this, man.
Look, I've had so many little announcer slip-ups, some mistakes. So I'm kind of having some fun with it at this point. Unfortunately, they get through turn 7 clean. Unfortunately, dude, I'm just ready for it every time. I just want to see people go straight on at turn 7. I want to see it so bad. Adam's actually put it to his inside. That's a great bumper cam we've got from Andrew Dyson. Oh, looking backwards. I still can't stop laughing. But he's doing a great job holding off. He really just needs to set his sights forward, though, and try to pull away so he can maybe chip into that lead Rodrigo's got. But he's going to have to make up about half a second a lap at this point. I really think it's going to have to come down to a mistake from Rodrigo. But I think Andrew's going to be able to pull away going down the front stretch here. He had a better exit out of that corner. Yeah, it looks like he's going to have a better exit going on to the front stretch. You take it away from me because I'm just laughing my ass off at this point.
I believe Abner Acosta just went into pit lane. Yeah, he's sitting in pit lane right now. So that gives your lead to Rodrigo Nevaez in that 44 machine. And he's going to have a 6.4 second lead over Andrew Dyson and a 6.9 second lead over Adam Williams. Nice.
Okay, well then. You know what's in between 6 and 9? 7. And we're getting Rodrigo going into turn 7 right here.
Goodness.
He's about 6.5 seconds ahead. Let's see. Will he make a mistake into turn 7? This has literally turned into me just laughing about turn number 7 this entire broadcast. He gets a little squirrely, just a little interesting, but he hits the apex pretty nice. Kind of sad, unfortunate. Andrew Dyson going through turn 7 now. I mean, we're just gonna have to look at all the leaders every time they go through turn 7. It is just ridiculous. But we've got Rodrigo still on board with him or watching him on our TV broadcast. Now switching back to the battle for second. But yeah, I love turn 7. Turn 7's great.
Yeah, you seem to really like 7.
7! Sorry, that's a Friends reference. Anyway, if you know, kind of mixing with your 6.9 reference. You know, it's about it's the same context if you understand the context.
Jason Willett just locked up into turn 7, but he didn't go off. So
dang it, yeah, doesn't count.
You would turn 7. I'm gonna be making fun of you for forever now.
I just can't, man. Just having 5 replays in a row of people messing up turn 7 has just got me crying. I'm so happy that happened, to be honest with you. But we've actually got Rodrigo was able to gain about 2/10 on second place there. So Rodrigo's, I swear, if this is a replay of turn 7. Oh, it's not. It's turn 12. Turn 12. It's a little bit different. So, but it's still going to be the same mistake we've seen in turn 12 every time. Probably right front lockup. Oh, no, he got on the sideways. Yep, right front lockup right there, going straight into the grass. Let's see, does he get it? Yeah, he does a good job keeping it straight. Good job. It's so hard getting off the grass or into the grass and then back off the grass. Oh God, is this turn 7 now? Nope. Okay.
Oh, it's
every time I see replay, I'm thinking it's turn 7. Toga Hisada going into turn number 12. Let's see, what does he do? Oh, he goes in way deep. My goodness, that's not even a lockup because he goes in so deep, but he's able to get back onto the. Oh, nice job getting back onto the pavement there, back on the track.
The moto circuit.
Whew. This is. Where did he end up falling? Oh, yeah, Toga Hisada's doing really good, actually, in 6th place. I don't think he lost any positions off of that.
At this point, every time we see replay, we should just flip a coin and heads or tails. Heads is turn 7. Tails
is turn 12! Oh, Rodrigo! Oh, my goodness, he almost threw it all the way right there. That is going to cost him a little bit of time, but my goodness, he almost threw the race away going into turn 12. That's where he had his big mistake earlier. He's the only one not making a mistake into 7. It's 12 every time for him. Everybody else is pretty bad at turn 12 also. We're having too much fun in the booth with the Indy Road Course. I don't know how, because we have a 6-second gap from the first place to second place. But turn 7 and turn 12 have got me dying.
You concern me sometimes.
Look, like I said, I made so many mistakes at the beginning of this race that I've kind of just gone into full laugh at everything mode, and I'm having a whole lot more fun. But Andrew Dyson, he cut the lead down a second there. I know Rodrigo made a big mistake, but one more of those mistakes, and Andrew is going to be on his back bumper.
And Rodrigo Novaes got another replay into turn 12. Seems like turn 7 is your favorite corner. Turn 12 is my favorite corner. As that's Jacob Klein just getting it all wrong. And he's trying to take a trip down the motor circuit once again.
Again, he does a good job getting back on the track, though, so no harm, no foul. Just lose a couple seconds. Not too bad. I wouldn't be too upset if I were him, but it looks like Rodrigo, if he keeps his car on track, doesn't make mistakes, he's just a little bit faster than Andrew at this point, so he is eking that gap out just a little bit. He's gained a 10th over this lap, but we've seen he struggles in turn 12, man. He struggles in turn 12, your favorite corner. He's coming down to what, 5 laps to go here, I believe? Yeah, we got 6 to go now, but he's about to take 5 to go as long as he can make turn 12. He does it pretty good that time. I think he's maybe babying it a little bit more now that he knows he's got that gap. You don't have to push too hard. We see Andrew in the background fighting with a lap car, so that could cost him a little bit more time. So he does, yeah, it looks like Rodrigo ekes out about half a second out of this lap. So if he can just keep building on that, just run consistent lap times and not mess up turn 7 or turn 12, I think he's going to be well on his way to winning this race.
Yeah, it's just, man, that's gonna be the highlight of our highlights. It's gonna be all going into turn 7. Every highlight.
I can't wait to record the GridVision highlights for this week because it's just gonna be turn 7, and I'm just going to be screaming about it the entire time on the broadcast and on the review. I can't wait. It's gonna be so exciting, everybody. Definitely turn into our turn 7 review. We might just make a special video just for turn 7. Honestly, there's been so much going on in that
Top 7
corner.
turn 7 moments of the Indianapolis Grand Prix.
That's a good idea. We need our producer to write that down. That could be definitely an extra video idea.
Cue the SpongeBob meme. Write that down. Write that down.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. This broadcast has definitely devolved into some form of chaos, even though it's not too chaotic on track.
Me and Brandon over at BRTV, we have this whole thing about chaos theory, and it's making an appearance here. What is happening?
And you see, that's the thing, right? In my A-Open I ran earlier this week, Garrett Maines did not make a mistake the entire race. He still ended up winning after the mistake he finally made, but he finally made a mistake on the last lap, and guess what turn it was in?
Turn
it
7?
Was in turn 7! So if we see Rodrigo... Oh, no! That's not who I wanted... No! Andrew Dyson makes the mistake in 12!
Corner in turn 12.
That extends the gap out to 9 seconds. If Rodrigo makes a mistake at this point, it's his own freaking fault. I mean, like, you can't make a mistake with 9-second gap. We're going to see what Andrew did going into turn number 12. Oh, man. Just gets a little bit too deep. Damn, those great brake rotors on the back end are glowing.
Oh, and someone in front of him made the same mistake as well.
Yeah, that could have just been him following the car in front, maybe looking at his braking zone. He just ended up making a mistake off of it. But, I mean, very unfortunate for him because I do think he had a car
another
of winning this
moment.
race earlier. That's Billy Shea. Oh, man, he just gets punted. Man. Just got punted into turn 12. I mean, we had a bunch of turn 7 incidents, and now they've all migrated to turn 12. I haven't seen a turn 7 incident in a long time.
Speak of the devil.
Just as I say that, Lawrence Shaughnessy spins out! Somebody out of turn 7 right in front of the leader. Turn number 7. My goodness. I know we're not looking at that replay right now. We're looking at Joshua Watson getting pushed wide in turn 13. Who would have known we had a problem in turn 13? Lawrence Shaughnessy still side by side right in front of the leader. They're door banging right next to the leader. Oh my goodness. Rodrigo gets by. They're okay.
And they're about to have a big moment at turn 12.
We're showing so many replays because there's so much going on by the leader. That was turn 7 that I was screaming about 30 seconds ago. And then if we keep the replay rolling, but switch it to Lawrence Shaughnessy, dude, everything's just kicking off. Yeah, here we go. Lawrence Shaughnessy and the 77 just start door banging. I don't know what's going on here. Right next to the leader, Rodrigo almost gets caught up in that. Oh, they're pissed. They're mad. Lawrence has run them all the way up the racetrack. That's turn 2 of the oval. Oh, my goodness. He goes in deep and cleans them out. This is amazing. This is great television. If we were on TV, this is YouTube. Whatever it is, I don't even care at this point. Turn 7 and turn 12 are making my night.
We're going to have flashbacks of turn 7 in our dreams tonight. I'm calling it.
I didn't think I could ever be so excited over a race that has an 8.3 second gap to second place. But I am loving this, dude. The last 10 laps have been hilarious.
Man, this has been great. I mean, I was expecting this to get a little bit of a snooze fest after the pit stop. Oh, no. If this is turn 7. Oh, it's turn 12.
Dude, I hate turn 12.
Am
Oh
I the
my
only one
goodness.
that's a part of the turn 12 gang here?
I think so. You're the only one that likes turn 12. Screw turn
It,
12.
it brings more exciting moments than turn 7. Change my mind.
I was definitely expecting to see another replay pop up and it go into turn 12 again, but we're not. The leader is about to go into turn 12, though, as he's getting ready to take 2 to go as long as he doesn't mess up Nick's favorite corner.
It's
We're
not
gonna
my
see-
favorite corner. It's my least favorite corner, but it's,
Well,
it's
yeah, but your team 12, your team turned 12. That's ridiculous. Team 7.
I don't even think I have a favorite corner on this track. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, they all suck.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe what this has devolved into, but I'm loving it. I can't wait to watch this back. Not the first 20 laps. First 20 laps, like I said, man, I felt bad. I feel like, man, I'm stuttering all over the place. But it has devolved, or I'm going to say evolved, because I think our passion has risen very highly the last couple laps. Just off
Yeah,
of
because we
our
go
love,
nuts every
and-
time we see a replay.
our love and hatred of turn 7 and 12. Man, I love it. I hope there's something like this.
Turn
Turn 1? Somebody made a mistake in turn 1. Oh my gosh. I've never seen that before. That's insane, man. I can't believe it. He kept it on the track, though, so it doesn't count. Doesn't
Yeah,
count.
it's not a mistake. It's just a
No,
lock.
yeah, it's just a lockup.
Oh, here
Screw
comes
that.
Rodrigo Narvaez into your favorite corner.
Yep, and he's only got to go through it twice more. Let's see. This is the trouble spot. I think he broke early just in case. You know.
Oh.
He goes a little deep. He does go a little deep. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, but not too bad. It's just about if he puts those 2 tires onto the grass, man, I'm telling you. Oh my God, turn 7! I mean, if that was a pass for position, that would have been great. But I definitely think he's going to get a slowdown penalty for that one.
Oh, turn 7, I love it.
Oh my goodness, man. I'm crying. Respect for not clearing out the second place car.
Bro,
Respect.
my guy was doing 100 miles an hour at the apex of turn 7.
And that was the car 77. I love it.
Oh my god.
Rodrigo's coming to take the white flag, though. White flag of the Friday night NIS Open that has devolved into the turn 7 show. I mean, I'm here for it. Nick's here for turn 12. Look, I've had a great time calling this race. I cannot wait to see Rodrigo come through and win it unless he messes up turn number 7.
Joseph Kazi in the YouTube chat says Austin is so hyped for turn 7.
I love turn 7, Kazi. I'm telling you. And then, look, this is turn 7 right here, 76, baby. Coming into turn number 7. I've never seen somebody go right into turn 7 like he did, but he was able to go right and then left, spin it around. Jason Wallach keeps it on the pavement, though. Most people hit the dadgum grass. He kept it on the pavement. Pretty good job from him. I'll give him some credit. That was some style points. I haven't seen somebody mess it up like that yet.
I don't even know what to say. I'm genuinely confused on what to say from here because all I know now is turn 7.
Well, he's gotten through turn 7 for the final time, unfortunately. I
I'm
wanted
just
to see
gonna say
something.
turn 7 for the rest of the broadcast.
Well, I mean, we've only got 1 lap left, so there's not much
Turn
more 7s
7.
we can spit out. But car number
7.
44, oh my goodness, Rodrigo Narvaez ran a really good race, just a couple minor mistakes, nothing too crazy except for a couple turn 12 incidents. Doesn't look like this is going to be one of them, even though he's got a gaggle and a half in front of him, including a car that took out the leader earlier. But he's going to come through 13. All clean. He's just going to let these guys fight it out in front of him. No reason to push the issue here. Coming through turn number 14, Rodrigo Narvaez, the only car to not have an issue in turn number 7 the entire event, is going to win the Friday night NIS Open from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
He wins the battle of turn 7.
My goodness. Andrew Dyson probably could have had a car to win the race if he didn't get taken out by a lapper in turn 7. And he comes through to finish 2nd place. Adam Williams comes home 3rd. Great showing from him. And, oh man, Neil Pearson 4th. Latoro the Butcher Lamperti, back-to-back top 10s for him. Actually, 5th place tonight. Great job from the Butcher. Toga Hisato looks like he's coming through in 6th. Abner Acosta just about got clocked from Sean Conklin going into turn number 12 here for 8th place, but Sean did a good job keeping it off of him, keeping it on the track. They're both going to come through, finishing 8th and 9th place. Looks like JR Borborema is going to come through to finish 10th. He's got no challengers. We do kind of have a battle for position for 14th place here. It looks like Brian Young in front of William Driley. They're going into the dreaded turn 12. They've made it through turn 7 unscathed, and they're battling for the 14th position right here. They can't lose anything because they're the last 2 cars on the lead lap, so you might as well dive it in here. Who cares? My goodness. Oh, there it is. He gives him the bumper for 14th. William Driley, he's going to look to the inside. He's not going to get it. He goes to the outside, trying to get a better run through the final corner. Can't quite get to the bumper. It looks like it's going to be Brian Young for 14th place. Good little battle there at the finish for 14th. Can he get off the corner well? He gets off the corner well enough. It looks like it's going to be Brian Young 14th and William Driley 15th.
I think that was the most exciting part of the race tonight.
Dude, I can't get over that. I mean, what a great
Turn
showing.
7.
I love turn 7, man. I love it. Turn 7 is the shit.
Do you really love turn 7?
I like it. I didn't have any problems with it whenever I ran it. Turn 12 was my issue point, so I really love turn 7. I love seeing everybody else mess up.
I had one issue with turn 7 all week, and I got a 6-second slowdown because of it.
Oh my goodness, you idiot.
Thank you. It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Oh, that's sad. We're gonna watch Rodrigo Narvaez here do his burnouts. Oh my goodness. What a fun booth this has been. Holy crap.
Oh,
I'm loving this. Turn number 7 is gonna be in my nightmares tonight.
And the homies hate turn 7. Oh
my gosh!
Someone just pulled a Diddy Hamlin up.
No burnouts. No burnouts from Rodrigo. Maybe because he couldn't do a burnout through 7. I don't really know what to tell you. I guess we're gonna go through our rundown right here because I guess that's about all we got left to do. We're gonna try to pull in some people for some interviews if they can make it. But our final race rundown: Rodrigo Narvaez gets the win. Andrew Dyson and Adam Williams finish off a really good podium there. They were fighting for the lead for most of the race. Just a couple mistakes, a couple lap car incidents. 4th place, Neil Pearson. 5th place, the Butcher, Lamperti. That's what I'm talking about. I love that nickname. 6th place, Toga Hisada. 7th, Abner Acosta. 8th, Jonathan Oshalim. 9th, Sean Conklin. And 10th place, J.R. Barbarema.
Finishing in 11th place is going to be John Payson with Justin Lowry in 12th. Derek Sherman's going to be 13th, Brian Young, and 14th, William Bradley. Tanner Marty is going to be the first car 1 lap down in 16th position with Sean Jr. in 17th. Drew Eisenman in 18th with John Whitedorf. There we go. I figured it out. In 19th.
Nice.
Alan Wilson III is going to be finishing in 20th position tonight.
21st is going to be Mark Padgett. We saw him have a lot of issues in turn 7. 22nd was Joshua Watson. 23rd, Billy Shea. 24th, Jacob Klein. 25th, Jason Wallot. 26th, Jerry LePage. 27th, Jose Acosta. 28th, Mario Alfredo. 29th, Ronnie Kuritz. 30th, Richard Garcia. And 31st, Jason Hurdle. And we're going to send it off to commercial as we try to get some of our top finishers in here for interviews. Be sure to stick around just in case we actually get a couple to come up.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
back to the Friday Night NIS Open broadcast. We have just finished up the race where we saw a great showing in every corner except for turn number 7 and turn 12. Rodrigo Nevaez takes up the W. Andrew Dyson and Adam Williams round out your podium. That's the word that I was looking for. Anyway, Nick, my one-time commentator buddy, my turn 7, turn 12 friend, what were your final thoughts on today's race?
Turn 7.
Oh, that's about all that we need to wrap it up. Turn 7.
and here's one extra thought for you. Turn 12.
Oh, that's a tough thought. That's a really good one. I'm a fan.
No, but in all seriousness, that was your typical road race for NASCAR. It was we saw some really good battles throughout the race and a lot of mistakes, which are something that is very common with NASCAR road courses. So, in my opinion, just a typical NASCAR race. NASCAR race at a road course, especially on iRacing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard, to be honest. Definitely the trouble spots that we mentioned earlier for the big braking zones, and we definitely saw that. Unfortunately, next week we do not have a turn 12, so we won't be seeing any turn 12 incidents. But we do have a turn 7. So if we see any big incidents at the Glen next week for the Friday Night NIS Open broadcast, we will be here broadcasting again, and I will be here again making fun of everybody making a mistake in turn number 7. So we'd like to thank everybody for showing up to tonight's NIS Open broadcast. Congratulations to our top 3, including the race winner, Rodrigo Nevaez. And thank everybody for coming out to listen to me, Austin Edstrom, my good buddy Nick Stein, and our producer, Austin Derbyshire, crack up about turn number 7 and turn number 12.